If Deathgarden Bloodharvest sounds familiar, Steam recently held a free weekend to entice people into trying and perhaps buying the game. If you haven't played it yet, this review will explore if you should. Deathgarden is made by the developers of Dead by Daylight, who give you a discount if you own either game. If you've played neither, no worries. This review will analyse Deathgarden in a format that should be accessible to players who've never heard of its developer's former title. So what's it about? The lore describes a post-apocalyptic dystopia where impoverished outcasts must pass a trial of survival to gain access to the developed enclaves. What does this trial entail? Scavenging blood from glowing wells and depositing it in one of 3 obelisks. This would be easy if it weren't for the hunters who prowl the map, shooting scavengers on sight. Scavengers cannot return fire and have little option but to run away. They do get arrows to shoot down any gadgets the hunter might deploy, but those cannot hurt the hunter directly. As you might have guessed, asymmetry is the heart of Deathgarden. The hunter's monopoly on violence might make it seem like the more enjoyable side, but the game is not that simple. For a start, we found the game takes far more time to find a match if you queue as a hunter. When you finally get a match after 10 or 15 minutes of waiting, you'll often have to choose between pursuing the scavenger in your sight or drop the chase to stop other scavengers who are in the process of depositing blood on the other side of the map. The scavengers can make your job even harder by coordinating their delivery at different obelisks at the same time, forcing you to choose between the point you want to protect and ensuring at least one scavenger will complete its delivery without being interrupted. You can't stop them both, because you can't be in 2 places at once. Once the scavengers have collectively delivered 140 blood, the match is in its final phase, with the onset of Blood Mode. That being said, Blood Mode is the inevitable conclusion of all matches, as it is still triggered when the match runs out of time, even if the scavengers haven't deposited the requisite amount of blood. The hunter can also trigger Blood Mode by successfully executing 3 scavengers. More on execution later. When the match enters Blood Mode, the scavenger's location is revealed, and they are informed they need to escape the arena by making their way to the exits that have just opened. This phase of the game is intense, as the hunters don't need to find their targets and can make a beeline for the scavengers. You can run, but you can't hide. However, hunters will always have to contend with the narrower field of view imposed by their first-person perspective, while scavengers have the benefit of wider perception thanks to their third-person camera. In our experience, scavengers can be far more fun to play because you can accomplish your objective while avoiding the hunter, while the singular objective of the hunter forces him to chase shadows. As a scavenger, sneaking around hunters is thrilling, particularly when you can hear the hunter coming and part of the thrill is the uncertainty of not knowing if the hunter is coming for you. Even if you get detected, the chase can be exhilarating, doubly so if you succeed in getting away. Admittedly, you won't always be so fortunate. The hunter will succeed in downing you from time to time. So what do you do then? Look around for a health crate. You can revive yourself if you crawl to it in time. Your teammates can also revive you if they feel like being brave. If you're unlucky, the hunter will catch up to you before you're revived. So what happens now? It depends. If this is the first time you've been downed, the hunter is restricted to recycling you, upon which you respawn back onto the map. On the other hand, if this is your second death, the hunter can execute you, which ends your participation in the match, upon which you can choose to spectate the surviving scavengers or return to the lobby and queue for another match. If you keep your wits about you and maintain a healthy distance from the action, you can, as a scavenger, complete entire rounds without once running into a hunter. Playing postman from A to B might seem like a chore, but the mere chance of encountering danger keeps the game exciting, ergo, fun. The sound design plays a crucial role in warning you of imminent danger, as the music ramps up to signal to scavengers that the hunter is close. You might not feel quite as formidable as a hunter though. Many of the game's guns sound a bit weak, which, to be fair, accurately reflects the eternity they take to shoot down scavengers. The game can sound more satisfying as a scavenger. Audio cues that accompany delivery of blood provide immediate gratifying feedback for your contribution to the collective goal. Why is this important? Depositing blood takes time, while the pillar projects a glowing beam into the sky, which alerts the hunter to your location and activity. As a hunter, you don't have to wait for scavengers to deposit blood to figure out where they are. Dormant drones lie scattered around the map, which upon activation hover above their area of effect and reveal any scavenger that enters their cone of vision. Scavengers can disable these drones by shooting at them with 3 arrows, though the hunter can see the trail of the arrow's trajectory. Furthermore, this deactivation is temporary, and the drone will resume surveillance after a short while. To activate these drones, the hunter must spend power cores, which can be found in blue boxes scattered around the map. Scavengers can also collect power cores from these blue boxes, though they get ammunition for their powers instead. There are 3 other types of crates: health crates, ammunition crates, and the golden crate. Ammunition crates are self-explanatory, allowing both sides to resupply their ammunition. As a hunter, you might find these crates indispensable as you need a ton of bullets to take down one scavenger. The high time to kill and elevated mobility let scavengers run circles around inexperienced hunters. At least the damage you do sticks, right? Yes and no. Only 2 scavengers, Sawbones and Fog with his alternate ability, have the power to heal themselves and their teammates. Other scavengers must use health crates to mend their wounds. The hunter has little use for health crates, though he can hack them by shooting at them, as he can do to any kind of crate. A hacked crate temporarily reveals any scavenger who tries to collect from it. Moving on to the last and also the least common type of crate, the golden crate. Only 1 golden crate is available through the course of the match, and it only spawns midway through the game's progress. If the scavengers collect it, they get infinite ammunition for their bolts and powers for a short while. If it falls into the hunter's hands, he gets infinite stamina and ammunition for the duration of the temporary buff. This can be a game changer, as it levels the playing field in terms of mobility, making the hunter considerably more hazardous. No complaints here. The risk of interception is a primary source of fun as a scavenger. If that sounds insufficient, this risk carries a reward. Completing a deposit gives you grind currency, or should we say, grind currencies. Deathgarden features not 1, not 2, but 3 grind currencies: iron, blood cells, and yellow ink. Iron unlocks characters of both sides, hunters and scavengers. These characters can then level up by grinding tasks like dealing a designated degree of damage or expending a designated amount of ammunition. Once you've completed these assignments, the game will allow you to spend the red currency, blood cells, to upgrade your passive perks like increased stamina and reduced cooldowns. This is the same rigmarole the game puts you through to unlock an alternative weapon if you're a hunter, or upgrade the 2 you begin with. Spend the yellow grind currency, ink, to unlock the 3rd gun. Grind challenges to unlock the option to spend grind currency to unlock upgrades. Wonderful. Blood cells and yellow ink can unlock cosmetics. But this feels like a waste of grind currency in a system that has players pay to buy the game, grind to unlock characters, grind to earn 3 grind currencies, grind to level your character up to unlock more passive perks, and grind challenges to upgrade perks you've unlocked. Generally, this type of progression gives veterans a tangible advantage in gameplay stats over novices, though Deathgarden's asymmetry obscures this perception and makes any potential disadvantage difficult to assess. Low-level scavengers don't play against high-level scavengers, and low-level hunters don't have to face high-level hunters. This makes an apples-to-apples comparison impossible and obfuscates the impact of the grind. That said, hunters and scavengers do share one mechanic: abilities unique to each character. However, scavenger and hunter powers differ as each ability is designed to help achieve their objective. Hunters and scavengers have different, mutually opposed objectives. Hunter abilities disrupt, trap, or damage scavengers like the veteran's orbital strike, poacher's proximity mines, and inquisitor's anti-personnel turret. On the other hand, scavenger abilities help them evade the pursuer, like Fog's smoke and Ghost's invisibility arrow that he can shoot to cloak either himself or any teammate that has been hunted. Scavengers can spend the yellow grind currency, ink, to unlock alternate powers, even abilities that are the default power of another character. For instance, Ghost can forego his default invisibility to unlock Clone, which is the default power of Switch, another scavenger. Scavengers are also gifted with far more mobility than hunters, as they can run faster and climb cliffs, walls, and other vertical surfaces in the blink of an eye. Hunters can temporarily bridge this gap by pressing Alt to trigger Supercharge, an ability that consumes stamina. Even after hunters deplete their stamina, they can still sprint by pressing the Shift key. If you press Shift as a scavenger, you will roll forward, a maneuver that does deplete stamina. Despite this, scavengers have plenty of opportunities to shake off hunters in pursuit. Deathgarden's maps offer plenty of verticality for scavengers to climb on to break the hunter's line of sight. The hunter cannot follow as he cannot jump that high without wasting stamina on supercharge, which you'll want to conserve for when the scavengers start depositing into one of the 3 obelisks. You'll know when this happens, as the icon for the obelisk will start pulsing while it's being deposited to. Even if you're on the other side of the map, activating supercharge will let you run and jump across the map in 1 or 2 leaps. And while we're on maps, how do they fare visually? Deathgarden's map pool features a rich variety in its colour palette, though individually the maps can look a tad monochromatic, but the textures and particle effects are satisfactory, though not exactly groundbreaking in 2019. The lighting and level of detail on the guns and character models can be impressive at times. Graphics go hand in hand with performance, so how does Deathgarden run? Very well. In our experience, which is a huge improvement from the studio's previous title. On a 1080 Ti, the game stays above 100 frames a second, with the settings maxed at 1440p. I'm also happy to report I haven't encountered any bugs at the time of making this video, though the game does freeze when loading the main menu. But I don't think that can be considered a problem, as the issue fixes itself once the game has loaded everything it needs to. So, is this a recommendation? Should you buy this game? I did. Mostly because I already own Dead by Daylight, and the free weekend discount made completing the bundle too cheap to pass up. Should you do the same? Deathgarden is certainly one of a kind, an experience you won't find in any other title. Conversely, this game has something for everybody. Does teamwork sound tedious? Do you just want to go guns blazing as a lone wolf? Play as a hunter. Fancy coordinating with other players to keep the lone wolf on his toes? Play as a scavenger. However, the game does have a few kinks that should give you pause. The progression system, to be precise. Pay to buy the game. Grind to unlock characters. Grind to earn 3 grind currencies. Grind to level your character up so you can spend more grind currency to unlock additional passive perks, and grind challenges to unlock the option to spend grind currencies to unlock perks you've already unlocked with grind currency. The developers have some nerve to force this tedious progression for a game that is still in early access. Some may argue this doesn't matter as much since the game isn't aggressively monetized beyond the initial fee of entry. While this may be the case for the moment, the progression system feels like the foundation for microtransactions to come. The logical conclusion to the convoluted grind is to pay to skip, a business model that is sadly very common in the industry. Some players might argue Deathgarden is too enjoyable to feel like a grind, but this shouldn't distract you from the implications of the progression system. So do we recommend spending money on this game? Not at this time. That being said, Bloodharvest does have potential to grow into a game worth consideration. So we recommend keeping an eye on its development and giving it a try during any free weekends the developers might hold in the future. There is more content like this in the way, so please like, subscribe and press the bell button so you don't miss out. Now, go share and recommend this video, because YouTube doesn't recommend us.